Good morning, Dave. Good morning, Johnny. Deck felt really good yesterday. Just having, like, Sprite Dragon has always been great in this list. And Sprite Dragon seems pretty well positioned in the format against the Field of the Dead decks. It's also good to be playing these colors again. Good morning, Bad. Good morning, Fisticuff. I saw you say hi to me in Everos's chat yesterday, Bad, but I was doing dishes in between type of messages. What changes, meta shifts have made Grixis playable again? Well, it's possible that this deck has always been playable. I know that I have been talking about, you know, Grixis being, bad for a while, right? But this deck is different from Grixis Control. This is a different deck. This is more of a mid-range aggro kind of strategy. It's way lower to the ground. And like maybe this deck has just always been fine. The more I'm thinking about it, I think the last time I played the deck before last night I 5-0'd, and I think last night I also 5-0'd. But people more so have been asking me about Grixis Control, and I don't think Grixis Control is good, but I actually think this deck has legs. Does that make sense? Maybe a bit rambly. No, not Slumbering Dragon, Sprite Dragon. There it is. Dorat, the perfect pet. I did buy the Dorats again. They're still expensive, but felt wrong to dust it off without getting this art back. And this card is just really, really good in this shell. Gets big really fast, kills really quickly. So why am I banning Uro again? Oh no. Too early. Yeah, at least one nickel and a cruel ultimatum. We need a Grixis meme dono deck. We do, but let's maybe give it a week or two. You don't expect undying attention just because you've subscribed to the channel. Well, you should, and you deserve it. Yeah, Termagriff. I didn't think I'd be on this deck either today, but I spend a lot of time off stream working on lists and decks, and this is something this is a list I've been working on for a while. Just like it's in the roster of decks I tweak and tune, kind of daily. And like really what led me to play this deck today was I was able to move away from Seal of Fire. I don't know why when I was building the list in the past I just couldn't get away from the Seal of Fires. But I don't think that they were really ever good. Obviously our draw hasn't panned out very well this game. We can try to cycle Remand or put Lurrus into our hand. Both seem like losing lines. We'll keep playing it out. I mean, if we can Remand into Lightning Bolt this turn, we have a chance. Yeah, I was playing this deck back before the Companion nerf a lot, and I did play this deck after the Companion nerf, and I thought it was fine in that era. Okay, didn't draw a removal spell. Let's just go to game 2. I think I've done pretty well with this deck in the past, and it's possible I've just kind of been neglecting the archetype. So I want to get rid of these forces and remands. I think the rest of the deck is solid. Maybe don't want 2 Spell Snares. Probably need to bring in the Unearths. We can trade Snapcasters and Dorats and Unearth them back. Although Unearth is way more so for the red decks. Can probably play the first Aether Gust. I guess we play 2 Spell Snares. Snare's not very good for us. Yeah. I talked about cutting Seal of Fire being what I needed to do to get rid of this deck to make the deck look good to me, and I immediately get paired against humans. But I do think that the Seal of Fire is not well positioned in the format as a removal spell at the moment, and if that's the case, the upside of having that synergy with Lurrus, I don't think is high enough. Yesterday I was playing Nile Spellbombs over Cleansing Wildfire also, but the more I was thinking about it, like the premier, the main deck you're bringing in Spellbomb for is Oops All Spells, and Oops All Spells is really good right now and like pretty popular. And like Dredge is, I don't think, popular enough to like dedicate 3 sideboard slots for, and so I want to just play Wildfire instead, which is very good against Oops All Spells, and also good against Tron, of course. What's the reason you're playing Opt over Thoughtscour if you're playing Drown in the Loch? Opt has Yargle on it. There's no Thoughtscour that has a Yargle, so it's kind of not even really a conversation, is it? The real reason is I've played this deck with Thoughtscour in the past, and I've found the card selection on Opt to be more important than the Thoughtscour. Although I certainly don't imagine that it's unreasonable to play Thoughtscour. Wait, where's the rest of my sideboard? Where did it go? Oh, I clicked a filter. Good morning, Maverick. Thank you. SCG deck tech needs a justification where that comes up. Yeah, I clicked on one of the filters. How fun is the Ubu Woo in this deck? I only have 1 land that doesn't tap for blue in my list. And it's 1 Blood Crypt, so the charms are pretty castable. Although the mana base is painful. But it works. I've played a decent bit of this mana base. I'm going to keep this hand. I know that it's like a little sus, but if this op finds us a 1-mana removal spell, I like this hand enough to keep. Or, you know, maybe more action than that. How can you play Grixis without K-Command? I don't think K-Command is very good right now. It's like any like card like Kolaghan's Command that doesn't line up well against Monastery Swiftspear is not something I think you can play. It's just like the prowess decks are like pretty good against Kolaghan's Command. Like Affinity is dead. It's just like there aren't very many good decks where Kolaghan's Command is even good against. It's not bad. I'll keep a Bauble. I think Bauble is... It's like really good to draw the first one in your Lurrus deck. I'm actually going to Bauble myself and see if I'm going to draw something that's going to want me to shock. We're drawing a Polluted Delta, so I'll just play this tapped. The whole point of Grixis is to play sweep but bad cards. Sweep but bad cards are for Thursdays. I actually try to build, you know, good decks. I should have played the events, of course. Dahlia, maybe no second land, though. Okay. So we can... I mean, holding up Drown's not going to do anything. I'm going to get Basic Island and just put Lurrus into my hand. And I'm pretty likely to steal this Hierarch next turn, too. Especially if they miss a land again. No EE seems odd. You know, it's possible that we should be playing some EEs. I have played EE in this list in the past, and you know, it is just tough to have a perfect 75 immediately. And maybe we'll make some changes going forward. But I'll also say it is pretty easy to like have match 1 be against humans and say, oh, we need to have EE in the sideboard. You know, I would caution you against getting like too biased in spots like this, you know, like too results oriented, I should probably say. Yeah, at least 1 Cruel Command and Bolas today. I'm glad that you guys liked the meme. It was pretty good. New Brew had been asked. This is actually like a kind of a slightly different take on an old brew. Like I played this deck a ton in the companion meta, and I actually was winning with it after the companion meta too, and I've just been playing other decks like kind of ever since. But maybe this deck has just always been fine, you know. Fair enough, Utterly Milked, fair enough. I thought that's what you were referencing, but obviously not a big deal. So we play Lurrus. It's kind of risky if my opponent plays land Thalia's Lieutenant. I think we want to get the life gain down. What would it take to have me not play blue in modern outside of Dono decks? Well, I'm not like... I mean, it would take me having an idea that is not for a blue deck, I guess. And I do have ideas. I just... seems like the ideas I work on that aren't blue just don't end up usually being good enough for the stream. But I've played non-blue decks before. The challenge really made you think again about the Jeskai Lotus deck. Maybe it depends on what you mean by think again. Like, I do think the Jeskai Lotus deck is good. I think it probably needs some changes. But I also played the Jeskai Lotus deck for like 5 or 6 days in a row, and I'm just trying to take a break for a couple days to keep the content fresh. Is mostly me, you know, doing this. And I 5-0'd with this list last night and felt pretty good. I wanted to kind of show it off. But I do still like the Jeskai Lotus list. I'll probably just take 6 here. We're attacking for 4 lifelink. They've already played their land. They can't dismember. What kind of changes? So I feel like the deck needs more cheap interaction. What a good draw. I think the deck needs some more cheap interaction. And so I'm thinking that we can maybe play some main deck paths. I'm also thinking that the red Zendikar land, the mythic one, Shatterskull Smashing, could be really good in the list. Because you make a ton of mana and like it's also like an additional removal spell that the deck I think is kind of needing. But another reason why I haven't been playing it is I often find myself, if I am struggling to figure out what a list needs, you know, what changes need to be made. They have a spell? Force of Negation? What? I have never seen Force of Negation out of humans. Opt, EOT. There's a Thalian play. This is a sideboard. I mean, I kind of dig it. They play a lot of blue cards. I dig it, honestly. It's just cool. Almost feels like a main deck Anger might be doable in Jeskai Lotus. I think that you, like, I don't know, 3-drops are weird in the deck because Lotus Field doesn't let you cast 3-drops on turn 3. Now, obviously we're playing Blood Sun, but that's something you need to think about, is that the Lotus Field deck doesn't let you cast 3-drops on turn 3. Okay, Reflector Mage. Thinking about Lurrus or Hierarch. It seems pretty close to me. Obviously, if I have nothing, bouncing the Hierarch wins the game, so that's like juicy. But I agree with them that it's not good to play around nothing. And so now we can snap kill the Aspirant. Oh no, they exiled the freaking... They exiled the Fatal Push. So I guess what we're doing here instead is blocking with the Noble Hierarch. And then that'll turn on Drown the Loch for a 2-drop. Although I guess we do lose this mana. Yeah, I don't know. My brain was not thinking that it was exiled for some reason. Obviously, we have a few options. We can snap Drown now and then cast Opt. We can snap Charm the Noble Hierarch. I think that that's very good because they'll just tap it. We can just hold up Snapcaster plus Charm if they, like, I guess they can't cast Mantis Rider with their mana. Yeah, I think I'll just hold up mana here. I don't think we need to main phase this Opt looking for a land. Why not? Why not? Why not Thalia? Why not Thalia in all caps? I think that saving 3 life here is super duper relevant. And if my opponent has another Thalia in their hand, it could be a bit awkward. And the Aspirin is also a big threat. And we have Snap Drown for the Thalia. But like being at 3 life here, but besides 6, is incredibly different. Yeah, if they first strike the Hierarch and then we get to drown and not take any damage. Why not Thalia? They can't Force of Negation. Oh, sorry. That was actually a why not Thalia. I got too distracted by my yelling. I needed to kill the Thalia and chump the Reflector Mage is what I meant to do and cast the Opt. That you could actually yell at me for that one. I don't know what happened there. That was an actual brain fart. Ooh, they brought in Rest in Peace. Pretty good. Immediately draw Unearth. My hand of 3 Snapcasters and a Lurrus. Alright, that one's actually on me. Yeah, one brought in a lot of sideboard cards. No, yeah, I should have killed Thalia that time. Although it seems like Thalia's gonna make in there. Rest in Peace costs more, and Force of Negation costs more. Got a ton of Ambush Vipers in our hand. We're doing great. This deck is really soft to Rest in Peace. Stinks to run into it this early. Our whole hand was soft to Rest in Peace. You did not understand it. A 5-0 with this deck or Lotus. It was this deck last night, so now. No, I guess I'm responding to that super late. Gotta get that list from OP. I mean, it seems like humans with Force of Negation in the sideboard. I don't know that I need to get that list, you know. My opponent's also at 7. With double Canopy lands. We actually might be able to win this. Yeah, I don't think Force of Negation is good against us, I should probably say. I would not have boarded in. I would have boarded in Rest in Peace. But Force of Negation seems good in humans. I actually like it a lot. I think it's an interesting plan and one that probably is good. Maybe I should have just like triple Snapcastered here, just tried to Alpha Strike. Chalice of the Void. Okay, well, I officially they're attacking. There's no way this attack is good. There's no way this attack is good. Yeah, I'm just gonna pass it back. They brought in Chalice, Rest in Peace, and Force of Negation. What did they cut? Yeah, Aspiring Ambush Viper. That's me. It looks like my lamp is going out. I've got a ring light here, and I've just got a lamp over here. The light just flickered. Any chance that Forces man? I would say it's very unlikely. But like, obviously, no one's gonna stop you from putting it in your deck. The old Thalia, Rest in Peace, Chalice, Force of Negation deck. Yeah, this should just triple Ambush Viper. Looks like it's gonna be good enough. Dude, Snapcaster's so good. Ooh, into Dorat. Guess we'll cycle. They haven't conceded yet, but. Okay, so we get to go to game 3. My opponent has brought in a ton of non-creature spells. Specifically, Rest in Peace is super obnoxious, although we do have 2 Spell Snares. Is it? I think I like, my heart is telling me to play a Force of Negation. I think I'm gonna play 1 Force of Negation. It's just aspiring MTGO user, says Falling Your Heart. Oh, I can't argue with aspiring MTGO user. Yeah, I would force a turn 1 Vial for sure. Yeah, I mean, if they have Chalice, Rest in Peace, Force of Negation, and Aether Vial. Maybe I play 2. Yeah, obviously the first match where E is the perfect card. Like, I don't know. Humans hasn't been super duper popular lately, but if it is, obviously Humans is good. I like that we have a Spell Snare. I like this hand a lot. Take out Cling. I feel like Cling is... obviously doesn't... I mean, we have a lot of cards that don't do very much with Rest in Pieces in play, but I think Cling is fine against Humans. Yeah, I was looking at what opt art I wanted today. I forgot that this existed, and I snatched him up. You're expecting Nickel for the title? Yeah, it is kind of funny. Yesterday we had this conversation about the whole add at least one Nickel and Cruel ultimatum to the list. But I also just like this is a list I've been kind of messing with for a little while now. Something I've played in the past and have liked, and I 5-0'd with last night. I think I'll just push now and then hold up the opt, get a little more info. Yeah, it's Grixis Dragon. It's not Grixis Dragons. Reflecting Pool, dude. My opponent is innovating over here. EE is main boardable in the meta in Grixis. I would disagree, I think. It's kind of good against Field of the Dead. Kind of. I don't really feel like EE is main deckable. Like maybe one is okay, but there's like a difference between a card being like okay to play in the main deck and like what is actually correct to do. Yeah, the first Reflecting Pool genuinely seems good to me. Especially if you're playing Rest in Peace and like cards that actually cost mana. Like the first Reflecting Pool is probably always good in Humans. Probably always. Like it's just like, you know, the only way that it ends up being bad usually is if you keep either basic land Reflecting Pool or just the one Reflecting Pool as the one lander, but you don't keep one landers very often in Humans anyways. Would I call this a brew? I would say my opponent is innovating on an existing archetype, and like that definitely is a thing in Magic, and if you consider doing that to be a brew, then yeah. I'm not sure that.
Welcome,
I don't know, like
the Shark Typhoon.
They've definitely swapped out some pieces on their boat. You know what I mean? Like the boat left as stock Humans, and now some pieces of the boat have been switched for other pieces. And depending on your definition of when the boat becomes a new boat, this is a brew. Bone Sheen is Grixis back tier 1. Hopefully, I 5-0'd with it last night. It felt really good. Although, I mean, a lot of the matches were pretty close, but the deck was doing really powerful things. Great draw, Force of Negation. I think I put it mulliganed? Maybe not. No, they didn't. Is the boat analogy good? I think the boat analogy is, like, above average. It's not my worst analogy. I think I'll just snap Fatal Push the Rider. It's good if your boat isn't made of fetch lands and shocks. I think the boat analogy is great. They're not they didn't attack with the freebooter. I would love to trade. You kind of like Coco in their deck. Vias versus Vile. They traded freebooter? Jeez. Is your analogy a brew or iterating on existing analogy? Ooh. I need another analogy to explain the analogy. This deck would be sweeter if you cut 3 lands and a charm and added 4 Serum Visions. This is our hero Yargle. Our Lord and Savior. Watching opponent as a human player hurts. I don't think there's anything wrong with... I mean, obviously, I don't think this block was very good, but I don't think there's anything wrong with, you know, trying new things. I feel like this block was maybe they're like, oh no, their attack with the Thalia last game was really bad. Yeah, that was tough too. You do have to keep in mind that these are, of course, just paid actors. Counter that. Oh baby, we're off to the races. Wait, my opponent has a stop at my draw step. I'm gonna wait on the dragon here. Watching the clock, I didn't even notice. I'm like always up 10 minutes though. Is Delver actually remotely playable in Modern? I mean, I've had tournament success in some metagames with the card Delver of Secrets. This was good enough to counter last turn, I guess. Just don't mind 1-for-1-ing here a bunch. Like, I've played this deck with Delver in it in the past, and I have just liked this version that's not playing Delver. Like, Dragon is so much better than Delver of Secrets. Well, why is Dorat not legendary? Because this is a... the card is actually Sprite Dragon. It's not actually Dorat. This is like this is one of the Godzilla art cards. Yeah. Oh, I want to steal that. Players cannot cast spells anywhere other than their hand. Okay, do I want to draw 2? Do I want to steal the champion? Do I want to counter the magistrate? I kind of want to draw 2 with these dragons in my hand. Yeah, this used to work against Lurrus, yeah. I'll double block Reflector Mage too. Imagine Dragons. I realize we don't run Mystic Sanctuary. Any reason not to include it? The mana base doesn't really function, I think. With Mystic Sanctuary, I think you need to be playing fast lands. Or you'd have to play like 2 more lands in your deck, maybe. If there's a Grixis Triome, I think you could play Sanctuary. But I think the mana just doesn't really work. Are they dead? They're not quite dead. It's kind of close though. Let's see what our top card is. Fatal Push. Hell yeah. So I guess we're not going to shuffle that away. Just attack for 4. Yeah, it's just like we're kind of like a blue-red deck splashing black, and maybe that's not entirely true because we have enough black 1-drops, but it's just tough to play Sanctuary in a mana base like this. I think the fast lands are too key. Obviously, Mystic Sanctuary is a good card. TFG has redeemed Spike, put on a hat. I haven't been in here a few months because I'm off Magic, but I appreciate you tuning in. I've got all my hats here. I've got the Santa one, the wig, the shark hat, the little hat, and the big hat. You feel cheated? This is Grixis Dragons, or Dragon, not Dragons. This deck is also spicy. I feel like this is fine. Mystic Sanctuary is less good without Cryptic or Time Walk. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty good with Archmage's Charm, but you are right without Cryptic too. It's a bit worse. Santa hat, hell yeah. Alright, opponent is dead. Didn't think we were going to win that game too, but we pulled it off. Is Wasteland too good for Modern? There have been some environments where I wished Wasteland was legal, but yeah, I think Wasteland would be too warping. If Wasteland also can't coexist with Ren and 6. Can we call the big Santa the big hat Manly Cat? I feel like we've been calling it the Big Hat Logan hat. Opponent is not conceding, but they are dead. There they go. Oh, maybe they thought they could force on their turn or something. No, it was their turn, they can't force. Opponent has revealed Lurrus of the Dream Den. I think this hand is good enough to keep in a Lurrus mirror match. Do I play Watery Grave on turn 1? I think I do. This way, if they can't play a turn 2 Scourge if we just go like a fetch land pass. Although my opponent is Boggles, I guess? No, Hammer Time. Probably a good matchup. Am I thinking about going back and working in IT world now that the pandemic is coming to an end, or am I going to keep streaming full time? Streaming full time, for sure. I am much happier and also doing better than I was at my old job. They did get a hammer. They play a ooh. Oh no. Okay, if they crack that, we get to kill the paladin. Oh no, they're not cracking it now. I guess there's like, you're not supposed to crack it now, huh? I'll cycle the Unearth. People are saying 6 months, but I'm not sure if that's actually... I don't know if the timetable has changed or not on like the vaccines getting rolled out. Also, don't ever come to me for news. Don't come to me for like takes on current events. Find somebody smarter. Thanks, nitpicking. What is the IT world version of qualifying for a PT? Getting recognized for the work you do. Probably. I'm gonna counter this. I think we can get basic island here. I'm doing good, Rohanosa. How are you doing today? Yeah, getting a 6 cert is also pretty good too. Honestly, my like 5 years as, or 5 years as an IT professional feels like a distant fever dream now.
Welcome, Spikelings, to the Shark Typhoon.
Seems like a really good matchup. Mr. Slipper, 10 months in a row. We can steal the Thopter, but I'm not going to do it that before they equip the Thopter. Welcome back, Mr. Slipper. They put their Lurrus into their hand. Good move. What is the best black removal that is not Fatal Push? Asking for a deck to not... Probably Bloodchief's Thirst for a deck that doesn't play fetches. I love any deck that doesn't play fetches. I don't think they're going to block. Hot take, I would ban fetches everywhere, but maybe EDH. If I could go back in time and stop any cards from being printed, it would be the fetch lands. But I feel like at this point, I really think that banning fetch lands would be wildly unpopular and would maybe even like cripple the format. It would be so unpopular to ban them, even though they are the best cards and they warp the format, in my opinion. But people would riot in the streets, and I think it's too late to ban them. I don't know. It's like in Legacy, Workshop, and Bazaar should be restricted, but they just almost can't be for like the fabric of the format. And fetch lands are kind of feel like the same thing in Modern. You know, I've only got a Shadow Spear. I feel like I would have gotten Swiftfoot Boots if they played one of those in the main, maybe. It's gonna take this, think. Yeah, I'm just not gonna bolt this now. I don't feel like we need to. Don't want to put Lurrus into my hands. Bolt Snap Bolt is 6+5, so not quite lethal. What are the difference between warp and define the meta? I don't know if I have a good analogy. It's also like really hard to articulate, and I feel like it's hard to like really point out because in reality, I'm probably just being hypocritical by saying so and having, I don't know. It's like I would say that format warping versus defining largely comes down to community sentiment, and where like, you know, I would say that, you know, format defining often comes down to
Welcome, Spike League.
the community as a whole, like wanting to play this format because these cards are legal and these cards are like fun to some extent and define the format. Whereas format warping kind of changes the existing framework in a negative way that it's unfun and the community dislikes. Blade Man 6 months, hope you're having a good day. Appreciate you. It's like I maybe I did a really horrible job of articulating that. It's a really interesting question though. I'm not trying to ignore it. It's not, you know, again, this is definitely one of those moments where I've been asked a question I haven't thought about before. I just don't have a well thought out response, and you're just hearing my stream of consciousness, and I may contradict myself or change my mind any moment now. I think I don't mind these Cling to Dusts. Yeah. I don't know, just if my opinion on this matter may change. Remand's not very good against them. I think Force is okay. Obviously the removal and the charms and the drowns are just great. It stinks that the boat analogy can't just be used on everything. Yeah, another EE matchup. Milked is just gonna come in every matchup. EE would be so good here. I mean, I will also say, if these matchups are still favorable, I don't know that we need a card like EE. There is definitely like a thing where like control players like play a ton of like these. Sometimes control decks can be built with too many removal spells, just to make the good matchups feel better, which is not, I think, how you should build them. Expecting Nikki B and other boomers found Lurrus in 2020 feels bad, man. Yeah, I mean, I just try to build good decks, you know, and I hate this as much as it pains me to say it. Nicol Bolas, Cruel Ultimatum, these just aren't good cards in Modern. I would love for them to be good cards, though. Yeah, I will also say fetch lands are super fun to play with. I will definitely agree. Fetch lands feel really good to play with, and like that certainly is like a factor when evaluating cards. They have way more hammers than they do Sigarda's Aids, so I think we're supposed to force this. Dude, Second Giver is going to be really tough to deal with if we can't find a removal spell. Although we can maybe just kill them. Well, okay. I think pretty easy decision of just stealing the untapped Giver of Runes. And I don't really see a lot of a reason to hold this back, because they can just like, if they do have Hammer plus a way to equip next turn and they're 2 cards, they can still just get through this with Giver of Runes. Are we playing real Jeskai cards like Narset? I'm glad that you guys remembered that bit so well. I didn't think it would have this amount of legs, but I'm glad it does. I think it's pretty good. Yeah, I think we just try to kill them next turn. If they have Sigarda's Aid, plus Colossus Hammer, we lose. Their hand is currently Lurrus. And their only two ways to equip Hammer are Pure Steel Paladin and Sigarda's Aid, right? They don't really play the core outfitter anymore, right? But if they did play core outfitter, we could hold back both Giver of Runes and a Sprite Dragon. I feel like calling this it is a dragon deck. It's not a dragon's deck. It's a dragon deck. This deck is definitely built around Sprite Dragon. I'm just going to attack. Clickbait title confirmed. Cancelled Spike? No. Why not plural? Yeah. Obviously, clearly. This is also a deck I've played in the past and titled Grixis Dragon. Although it's been like 5 months, 6 months. But I've played it under this name in the past. 2-0. We keep this in the blind? I think we do. What prompted me to play this last night was I was able to get away from Seal of Fire for the first time. Like, I had Seal of Fire on the one main, one side, and I thought I don't know why I wasn't able to get away from it before, but as soon as I cut it, like, the list looked pretty good to me. And I decided to play it in a league. I was like, if I 5-0, maybe I'll play it on stream sometime this week, and I did 5-0. And, I do think Sprite Dragon is really good, especially good in this deck. And also, is, like, pretty good in the Field of the Dead meta. Could be playing against the Jeskai deck. It's probably my guess here. Could also be, Belcher.
Welcome, Spikelings.
Makeshift Reapers, 6 months. Hell yeah. Spikefield Hazard. And an Exile so we can't unearth. I guess this is Belcher, which is probably a good matchup, although our hand isn't great against them. We do just have... We're a Force of Negation, Cleansing Wildfire in the Sideboard deck, so... I'm feeling okay. I'm going to put Lurrus into my hand. Love to draw a Bauble. I think a problem is your threat, it doesn't fit people's conception of a dragon. Yeah, I mean, you guys could make a YouTube video about how I clickbait and I'm a bad streamer, and it's fine. This deck is pretty soft to Fatal Push. Maybe. I don't know, like we just have, like, Lurrus and Snapcaster and Archmage Charm for all these 2-for-1s, so if people are playing the 1-for-1 game, I think we have, like, a decent plan, right? They're going to Pyretic Ritual. And one thing I like about the 3 Unearths in the 75 is you get to... against red and black decks, just bring in all these Unearths, and then, eventually you'll lure us Bauble, and they'll kill it, and you already got, effectively a 3-for-1. And then you just unearth your Lurrus for 1 mana with a counter spell up, which has been super powerful. It's a lot of rituals, opponent. I will cast Force of Negation, targeting your Goblin Shell Belcher. What a good top deck, Spike. Hell yeah. They got 2 cards left. I don't think we need to hold up this round. I'm just going to get a clock going. If I made a video every time Spike suggested, I have the trashiest playlist on YouTube, but I'd have a million videos. Probably make a ton of cash getting in that YouTube beef with me. Should have been Grixis counters. Like counter spells? I don't feel like that's accurate. Like, what this deck is. Yeah, this is, a, like, mid-range tempo deck for sure, as much as I maybe don't enjoy using that word. They drew a pact that actually do kill us here. Wow. Okay, let's see if we can find Force of Negation, because they get to kill us in their upkeep. Wow, if we had this other drown in our hand, we win. Okay, so we do get to go to 25 here. We have no way to remove the Charbelcher. But what we can... No, they're just going to do a 48 to us. I guess I'm going to look at the list, but I don't think we have outs. I don't have main deck Tails End. This is game 1. Yep, okay. I was thinking we could like charm them to like make the Belcher deal less damage. Cool game. Cool game. Gust is pretty good against them, I think. Gonna try to cut these removal spells and the Unearth. Tails End just counters a Charbelcher activation, but it's pretty good if they go for like Charbelcher with Force Up, like we just saw. I don't think we're supposed to like play to that happening, maybe. Also counters Empty the Warren's trigger, actually. I'm just into it. Yeah, I should have just main decked the Tails End. Play 2 Tails End, 4 Gust. Oh, I meant to play these 2, yeah. What is Spell Snare there for? They play 8 rituals. It's pretty good against them. Wildfire is good against them. No, Snare is great against them. Snare is really good against a Belcher. Isn't it worth it to play discard in this deck? I don't really think so. Like, one is like this mana base already is super duper painful, and discard spells just make it more painful. But I kind of like playing counter spells instead, and I haven't really missed them. I think like maybe like some amount of discard in the sideboard could be fine. Discard spells also just kind of suck in Modern right now. So many Uros and Veil of Summers. Keep this. How adamant am I about 3 Force of Negations? I've been liking 2 in some other lists, but this is like one of the best Force of Negation decks, because Force of Negation plays really, really well with both Lurrus and Sprite Dragon. I have a Bauble on top. I think we can draw a Bauble. Just like if you go like Lurrus, get back Bauble and Force of Negation, it's just such a good tempo swing, and like Lurrus is mitigating that card disadvantage by getting back Bauble. That I think you want to have 3 in this list, but in a lot of other lists I have been trimming. Could this work as a Dreadhorde Arcanist in discard effect and not counters? The list would be incredibly different. There would be like you know, to use the boat analogy again, which everybody likes and everybody is on board with, it like I feel like at that point it's a different deck, you know, it's a different boat. And I have played like a decent amount of Dreadhorde Arcanist in Modern and not really liked it that much. Other land is not great. Yargle Opt is great. Not playing around Blood Moon. I don't think we can afford to play around Blood Moon. It's also like pretty unlikely that we get Blood Moon in this spot. We have like pretty intensive colors. We only have 2 basic islands. And they'd have to have like, it's pretty tough for them to Blood Moon that turn too. Ooh, are they stuck on red mana? I guess we should have played around Blood Moon. Dudes, they're gonna Blood Moon me. Is the 4th bolt in a 4-bolt deck, the first Dreadhorde Arcanist has to be better than the 4th Snappy? It doesn't have to be, no. I will say, like, I mean, it would be very different. Arcanist is like maybe playable in Modern, but Arcanist is way better in Legacy than Modern. You know, it's way better in Legacy. Just like with Daze and Force of Will and Ponder Brainstorm, Preordain, so much better. And also like when card advantage matters more in Legacy a little bit. And like there's less fatal pushes and lightning bolts and Teferi Time Ravelers in Legacy than in Modern. It's just like, yeah, Wasteland 2 is huge in your Arcanist decks. Yeah, MTGO user Aspiring Spike playing Grixis today. Yeah, I'm not saying Dreadhorde Arcanist is unplayable in Modern, but it's certainly like, it's just way worse. Way worse. Well, they didn't. If they have another Surgical for my Wildfire, we get to cry about it. I'm going to Wildfire a land again. Obviously, it may be a bit better to go after red sources, but I think this is still something that's good to do. My opponent did Surgical my forces. But I think it's pretty unlikely. They've already used a Simian Spirit Guide that they are going to be able to combo off this turn. If I play Sprite Dragon, I can't have Charm plus Snare up. So I think I'll just opt and see if we find a Cleansing Wildfire. Like, I probably would cast a Wildfire here, but I will also keep a Drown. No, I've been misquoted. It's also like maybe Dreadhorde Arcanist isn't unplayable, but the cards you have to play with it are like worse than the cards you play in this deck, where like discard spells just aren't very good in Modern right now, and like you probably need to play discard spells with Arcanist. But discard spells are like maybe at an all-time low with Uro and Veil of Summer existing. Are they dead? Probably not, right? Oh. They're definitely not dead if I tap like that. These are each 4 power. Yeah, we're put them to 3. So I'll just try to kill them next turn, of course. How dare I talk about Thoughtseize? I like casting Thoughtseize as much as the next guy, but I'm not going to lie to you guys and tell you that it's like secretly great right now. Remand this. They're dead, I think. Sprite Dragon kills pretty quickly. You want to be lied to? You're in the wrong stream. So I guess okay, they're just conceding. This matchup should be good. I know we like kind of got cheesed out game 1. I know Dreadhorde is good in the Electro Dominance deck. I think it is too. I think it's I kind of like sideboarding it because people cut their removal a lot. But yeah, it's interesting there. It's just I will say that when you're brewing in Modern, when you're trying to find things to do, if you have a card like Dreadhorde Arcanist, which is certainly established at this point to like not be Modern staple level, power level, right? It's just not powerful enough to be a Modern staple without building around it. So when that's the case, like you have to build around a card for it to like really be good. If your card that's already not powerful enough on its own to be a Modern staple, and when you have to, when you have, in order to get it up to that power level, you have to build around it with cards that are also not really good enough on their own. That's just usually not where you want to be, if that makes sense. Maybe I did a bad job articulating that, but I hope my point comes across. Rogue Anonymous, thank you for Twitch Prime. Hope you're having a good day today. Is this list mine? Yes, this list is mine. This is one I've played a lot back in the old companion metagame, and I dusted it off last night. I 5-0'd. Blah, 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 blah. Perhaps the fact that Ponder, Brainstorm, and Brander are not in the format. That's a big part of it. That's a big part of it. Absolutely. Okay, I will try to get a basic island, because they did bring in Blood Moons. I'm going to hold up mana. Isn't there a counterspell as an additional cost you can reveal a dragon in your hand? Yes, and I have cast that card in Modern. If I could play 8 of these, I maybe would play that card. Opponent's got all green mana. I think we just let this go, because we can just counter the Reforge the Soul next turn. Cantrips aren't that detrimental to the deck, I'd say. It's about all you need. I disagree. I think you need to play cantrips and discard spells for Arcanist to be good. And it's also like just not free to play all these cantrips. Neither cantrips nor Thoughtseize impact the board when you cast them. And so if you have 14 to 16 1-mana spells that don't impact the board, you are going to just run the risk of falling behind, I think, a bit too often. My opponent also needs red mana to combo off, right? Yeah, so they may stack it to where they draw red mana. What does clash with your opponent mean? So, good question. So each of you reveal the top card of your library, and whoever has the higher CMC of those cards wins the clash. And then they reveal the top cards of the library until they put a land card, and then they put that card onto the battlefield. But they play no lands in their deck. I'll keep a Aether Gust. We do get to see out our opponent's deck. They have 3 Pact of Negations in their deck, so we can assume that they have 1 in their hand. They have 1 Surgical Extraction in their deck. They could have more in their hand. 3 Blood Moons, Defense Grid. So we'll see if the... Yeah, it looks like they drew this Shatter Skull Smashing here. Which is fine. I'm just going to go and draw 2 cards with Charm. Yeah, and then they stack their deck to Miracle Reforge the Soul and then draw a hand that can kill immediately. Which is pretty cool. Please drown a pact with an empty graveyard. I'll try, I guess. No problem. That might happen if we go Gust and they pact. We can just drown. Surgical Archmage's Charm. Okay. Now we won't have to go to discard, but they do get a charm out of my hand. So 1 for 1. You can make them draw so you can't miracle. You can, but that sounds bad to me. To like Archmage's Charm make them draw 2. But it's like it's a cute line, I guess. Seems like not a good one though. We can also Tails in the Miracle trigger. Maybe do that next turn. And if we Gust and just put it back on top. I'm kind of down to just Tails of the Miracle trigger. Okay, they didn't do anything. I was assuming they were gonna Miracle Reforge the Soul. Maybe we're just supposed to play out a dragon. I think I'd like to wait a turn. Or wait till I get just 1 more land into play. That way we can have at least the snare up too. I think waiting is fine here. I'm going to discard a 2nd dragon. Obviously, my opponent's like really incentivized to not cast anything here. Oh, maybe they are setting up a turn where they have just a million Pact of Negation. If that's the case, good for them. They're smart. I'm going to try to find a land here. Huh. It's a tap land. Okay. Got rewarded for our greed, I guess. And we have 3 counter spells up. Like it's gonna be tough for them to have like enough mana to kill us with 3 Pact of Negation. You can even Tails into trigger. So if like they pact to protect this, we can like let it resolve and force, you know. 2nd force is obviously a good draw too. Maybe we fit the Wildfire Flagstones in this list. Genius. For flavor, of course. Yeah, Dragon will kill them real quick. Why not just force the Reforge? I mean, did they cast Reforge the Soul? I'm confused. It seems like that's not their plan. Did I Tails in a Pact trigger in Historic? Yeah, a decent bit like in my testing. Not all the time. Outside of testing though, like not at the PT. Maybe I did it once at the PT. How is the tempo of this deck? I refuse to answer tempo questions still, I think. But if I ever restrict that policy, you'll be the first one I tell. Okay, so now our plan is going to be to Tails in the Goblin Charbelcher activation, and we can drown another Pact of Negation, and we can Aether Gust a Veil of Summer. And then they'll die to their Pact triggers. So pretty exciting game here. It was a joke, I see. Wait, what did I counter the 2nd time? I targeted the Charbelcher again. Both of their packs resolved. So they're going to activate Charbelcher in response to their lose the game trigger that they can't pay for. And we will counter the Charbelcher activation. Yeah, Veil doesn't stop Tails in, but if they have Pact plus Veil, they can Pact to the Tails End and then Veil to drown in the Loch. So they need to have their 4th Pact of Negation. They need to have 3 and 4. I'm gonna keep this. Still like too early to give like a full rundown, I guess. It's tough nitpicking nerds. It's tough. I did this last night. Actually, I typed UU instead of U2. So embarrassing. Archon of Emeria. I played a sick match against Taxes last night. I really thought I was gonna lose. I just top decked perfectly to get out of it. Obviously, a 1-land hand against Taxes is terrifying. I would like to steal this Vial pretty badly, actually. Don't have black mana yet. Should just play this tapped, right? I'm not going to flash in a Snapcaster. I will Vial it in, though. And, like, Vial's pretty good with Lurrus, too. Inspiring Vantage into Chalice on 1. Chalice on 1's pretty good against me. I almost accidentally stole the Chalice. Do we have Ounce Chalice on when it's in play? We don't. This is like the 3rd match where Engineer Explosives would have been great, so maybe we should play it. Yeah, we have a lot of 1-drops, so this is definitely good against us. Oh, dude, Vial gets around the Archon double spell thing on Snapcaster. So usually Archon is like really good against Snapcaster. But not right now. Read your previous message. I saw a tweet from one Motown Everest on Twitter, and Mr. Spike, you're chasing the coattails of the tails, and I am. I guess gotta get clout anywhere I can. It's hard out here for a content creator. Starve for any sort of attention. Why no Kolagons or Cryptic Command? I kind of just like the lower mana curve with Sprite Dragon. Like Sprite Dragon with 4 mana spells. It's like a little loose. And also, I don't think Cryptic Command is very good at the moment. Although it's looking more and more like I'm wrong about that. I would love to be wrong about that. But like, just like the Kolagons Command isn't very good against the Swift Spear decks. And if that's the case, I don't think you really want to be on Kolagons Command. Bone Crusher Giant on top. That stings. So, oh, I meant to it. I clicked attack, I thought. Didn't draw the Force of Negation either. Yeah, this Chalice is just going to get us. What does it put on red for? I guess Bone Crusher. And Simian Spirit Guide, Magus of the Moon, maybe. Yeah, the turn was gross, but this Bone Crusher is just going to throw a wrench in our dreams. And now, like, the Vial being on 2, the Snapcaster is not a very good draw. Oh, they played Magus of the Moon? Interesting. I guess that's good for them because we can never beat it. So, fair enough. Only have 2 islands in the deck, and we can't bolt through the Chalice. What is this deck as the YouTube comment yesterday? No, this is something I've just been messing around with. You have Vial, I'm fine, yeah. If the Vial was on 2, I'd feel better. I think it was good to put the Lurrus into play, though. Sideboard Braid, maybe. Yeah, I think we could... I don't know, we could draw Sprite Dragon to get out of this, actually. My opponent should just Bone Crusher again. Are you playing Nickel? No. It was maybe a bad day to play this deck after yesterday's meme. Wait, I guess they're maybe playing around Force. Can't. They had to fly. Ah, symmetrical. It is a bit weird that like that half of the effect on Bone Crusher is symmetrical. You know. Let's just go to game 2. They bring in the pushes. I think we need to keep in some forces against the Chalice deck. I wasn't expecting to play against Chalice of the Void today. Probably need Gust. Well, we have Bolt for Magus of the Moon. I think I'm on board for some amount of Gust. I also kind of like Unearth against the Bone Crusher Giant removal spells. Just unearthing Lurrus is such a big deal in these matchups. I think Cling is kind of not good. Probably want like 2 Unearths. Maybe there's not room. Maybe cut a Snapcaster. It's pretty bad against Archon. You can tail in the Chalice Trigger. It's like a really bad exchange to do so, though. I've done it before. Cruel Ultimatum seems like a slam dunk in this list. Yeah, and at least 1 nickel. Yeah, the island matches the Sprite Dragon pretty well. Always, whenever I play a Sprite Dragon in my deck, I play this island. Keep this hand, of course. You probably want an Abrade in the side or 2. I would probably play Engineered Explosives instead, but maybe. I mean, like how, like I will certainly caution anyone against like playing against red-white taxes with main deck Chalice of the Void and like thinking that you immediately need to play, you know, like different sideboard cards. It's a trap, you know. Turn 1 Chalice obviously stinks. Opponent's way ahead of the curve. Guess I'm just supposed to put Lurrus into my hand here. I should have played Island. I forgot I had Lurrus for a second. EE is weak to Stony Silence. I haven't seen a Stony Silence cast in months. But again, it's like you play against red-white taxes and they Chalice of the Void you. We need an Abrade in the side. I really think that's a trap, you know? We are just dead here though. Why Unearth for Lurrus? Yeah, so against the red decks, against the Swiftspear decks, Lurrus is super important because you are both trading 1-for-1 with your removal spells really aggressively. And then because of that, the matchups often become about Lurrus getting value. And so like you Lurrus, get back Bauble. I'm going to keep this, I think. Yeah, they're definitely playing a cool deck. Yeah, but when I was playing this deck in the past, I just found that the best card against the Swiftspear decks was Unearth. Okay, having a turn 2 and maybe turn 3 Dragon is good against Amulet, although don't have any permission besides this. I guess this counter's packed. Would I try a Jeskai Sprite Dragon deck? I mean, I thought about it, like the merits of Jeskai over Grixis. Like, Cling to Dust, Drown, and Unearth are really good reasons to be Grixis. The reasons to be Jeskai are Lightning Helix, and I'm afraid to say it. I guess I will. Oh no, I forgot the name of the card, actually. The Myth Realized. Myth Realized is like maybe good in this list. I haven't tried it yet, but Myth Realized is maybe kind of sick. Although needing untapped white mana on turn 1 is like asking a lot. My opponent has turn 2 Titan. They have 8 mana. Have I seen the Is It Delver deck that's been performing well? I mean, I'll take a look. I've played Delver in the past. Not sure how different it is from like the older version. Yeah, Helix seems... I mean, Helix is good in some meta games. I think it's like a little worse than it was like a month ago. I mean, I'll make him show me the Titan. Polluted Delta go. That's my whole game. Yeah, you get Teferi as well. Although, if you don't get Teferi if you want this to still be a Lurrus deck. Well, you can just main deck Lurrus if you want. Yeah, Kiki combo less FNM, you gotta get in on that. Well, Timu is another streamer who probably built the person who Kiki comboed use deck. I think he's got a pretty good list. Turn 2 Titan, baby. Get out of here, Elvish Reclaimer, I guess. Give me the Drowns and the Wildfires, cutting the bolts, the Unearths. I think I probably actually do want a couple of Fatal Push for Dryad and Stacy and Azusa. Probably 2 sounds good to me. Yeah, this looks pretty good. Yeah, turn 2 Titan with Summer Bloom banned. Yeah, they'll never turn 2 Titan you again. Who's Stacy? Sakura Tribe Scout is Stacy. And then I think there's this, like, so it's like Sakura Tribe Elder is Steve and Sakura Tribe Scout is Stacy. I can't remember if the deck has Stacy's mom or not. I think Fran has a nickname for Stacy's mom, but I can't remember. Maybe Azusa is Stacy's mom. Maybe Primetime is Stacy's mom, yeah. How could you mess with my daughter? Stacy's mom has got it going on, TBH. Yeah, Primetime has got it going on. Yeah. Ty would not play Summer Bloom right now. I did a no ban list modern tournament once to like celebrate me becoming a full-time e-boy, and Amulet Titan with Summer Bloom got 2nd place. It was sick. It was really good. What is Force stand for? Amulet, Pact of Negation, Summoner's Pact, Turn Timber Symbiosis. Sometimes they play Karn too. And I will also say that Force of Negation isn't like great against Titan, but what's nice about Force of Negation is their name's Shaman. So probably Stacy here. What's nice about Force of Negation is when your opponent is like getting so much mana, when your opponent is generating so much mana so quickly, it's really easy to get behind. But when you can just trade 0 mana for a spell that they spend any mana on, or just a spell in general, that's just such a big deal when your opponent's ramping so quickly. What did I play? I didn't. What Miracles won? I didn't play. I just commentated on the event. Esther did some co-commentary. It was a good time. Do you play the 2nd dragon? I think we do. Oh, you beat Hogak in the finals? Amulet was top 4. Okay, I misremembered. Yeah, Musi won the tournament. I misremembered. Yeah, Miracles was great with Sensei's top. Oh yeah, but Amulet Bloom was undefeated in the Swiss. Was that true? I think it's true. Hello, Bellins. It's been a while since that. It feels like it, time is just flying by so quickly. Jeez. I think I'm gonna pitch Charm. It's so bad if my opponent can counter back. I think I need to keep a Force. Is considering Delver in this list instead of Dragons crazy? So this list originated back in the old Lurrus meta. And I believe like in like one of the first challenges, Nassif lost with my Soul Rider deck to a Grixis Delver deck that was very similar to this list. I can't remember if they were playing Sprite Dragon or not. Probably were. And they were playing Delver. And I played a good bit of the list, and I just realized that the Delvers were not good. Like, Delver of Secrets is very unique in the fact that it's one of the very few modern threats that is good to play with alongside counter spells, because you spend 1 mana on it, it sits and wins you the game passively, and you don't have to cast spells on your own turn. Whereas like the other good 1 mana threats in these spell-based decks are like Monastery Swiftspear and Soulscar Mage, and those are different because they require you to cast spells on your turn. But Delver of Secrets is okay with you casting counter spells on your opponent's turn, and so is Sprite Dragon. But I think Delver of Secrets is just a bit too underpowered for Modern. Delver of Secrets did get a pretty big buff when Mystic Sanctuary was printed, because you could Sanctuary to flip your Delvers like after, you know, in the mid game. Okay, this is lethal, but we still had lethal because we could gust the Soccer Tribe Scout. Yeah. Yeah, Sprite Dragon kills super quickly in this deck. Yeah, I would play a Delve Threat if they didn't conflict with Lurrus in this list. They shouldn't conflict with Lurrus, right? They always cost 1 or 2 mana. No, I don't think Talzin is that good against them. It just, like, stopping a Titan ETB is not that good. It's just, like, a lot worse than Gust, too. Talzin is way better against the Reclaimer version, too. Because, like, Talzining a Reclaimer trigger is good. And like, depending on, like, what my 75 looks like, I'll play Talzin against Reclaimer sometimes. What about Legacy Staple Stormchaser Mage? I have cast enough Stormchaser Mages Magi to know that the card isn't very good. The name Nymph and Explore. I don't think I'm going to force this, but like might as well give ourselves the option. I will keep a Fatal Push now that they've shown us that they probably have a Dryad. Although Fatal Push is a bit awkward with this mana. We do have a third Watery Grave. I guess we now just have another push. Yeah, I think I'll just go ahead and main phase push the Soccer Tribe Scout, and then we can push the Dryad on their turn, on our turn, and then have Remand up. We can also get a Steam Vents with this Scalding Tarn. One other thing is, like, Stormchaser Mage does not play well with counter spells. That's another big deal, is that Prowess threats don't play well with counter spells, and counter spells are, you know, do play nicely with Sprite Dragon because the counters stay on the card. Of course. Opponent's got 2 cards left, but notably their Cavern is not naming Giant. Giant. Become unstoppable. They did play out both a Teleria West and a Turn Timber Symbiosis, so I have no doubt that they have a plethora of giants in their hand. Be careful not to get boiled. I don't believe that this version of Titan, the Amulet Titan, plays Boil. But I also can't play around it. I have 1 Blood Crypt in my deck, you know? Giant. Become unstoppable. Oh, interesting. They do play this. I thought Reclaimer Titan plays Boil. I didn't think that this version did. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. First time for everything. Some Amulet Titan players. Fair enough. I feel like the red mana is harder to get. I guess they just play a Team or Triumph. Did I ever watch Attack of the Titans? I think so. Honestly, I think I remember like thinking it was like kind of a fun movie, but like not like a good one. It's weird, right? It's like some movies you just end up like picking apart to death, or at least I do. And like just like super critical of it, but some movies like are like objectively not good, but I still enjoy them. I don't know if I enjoyed Attack of the Titans, but maybe I did. They picked up their Turn Timber Symbiosis, not their Cavern, which I'm happy about. Attack on Titan is so trashy. I still enjoyed the first season. Honestly, Attack on Titan Season 3 is some of the best anime ever, but the problem is like Season 2 is so slow. I don't know how many people got there. But Season 3 of Attack on Titan was great. Oh boy. They can't cast Turn Timber. Oh, they can. This is a 2-mana land. We need to find a Sprite Dragon. Okay, we can just... Their last card is Turn Timber Symbiosis. I'll just kill this with Drown in the Loch. They might... Surely they're not going to play Turn Timber to just get a zombie. I'm, like, pretty happy with that. Okay. Fair enough. I mean, if they're just making a zombie a turn, I think we have, like, a decent chance to beat that. Especially, we can, like, steal a zombie with Snap Charm and, you know... If they're just drawing a 2/2 every turn, it's not the end of the world. Although I think I'll put Lurrus into my hand this turn. Maybe I'm supposed to be able to hard cast this Force, but Shocking seems kind of dicey. I wish the whiny person didn't exist on Demon Slayer. Yeah, I really liked like the first 20 episodes of Demon Slayer. But I got to like 2 or 3 episodes before the end of the season, and it just fell off so hard, in my opinion. Like, they introduced all these characters who all they did anytime they had screen time was just they had each of them had like one defining personality trait, and whenever any of them would get screen time, all they would do is scream their one personality trait over and over again. That's like just it was so bad. And it feels like some of these like shows are like they just don't need to be 25 episodes, you know? And when I say it feels like it, they just don't. Like these shows don't need to be 25 episodes. And they just go on too long, and they don't have they just like the plot fizzles, just becomes bad. I think I'm gonna go Snap Drown a zombie so I can attack with Lurrus, gain some life here. Isn't the I have no idea about that, Jay. Yeah. And I would say that if you guys are looking for a good anime with a self-contained story and no filler and an appropriate length that doesn't just try to milk runtime, I would really recommend Decadence. Decadence is one of like just the best shows I've ever seen, period. Just an amazing season of TV. And it's one season self-contained, and I think it's like 15 episodes, maybe more, maybe less, but like around that range. And it was just, I really, really liked it. I thought it was great. I did not watch, I have no interest really in like live action adaptations of anime. They don't really make any sense to me. You thought I was gonna, yeah. You thought I was gonna meme and say Naruto. No, Decadence is real good. I would check it out. I recommend it. I'm gonna get in with my Snapcaster, and if they trade, we get to replay the Snapcaster, so they don't want to. I remember you loving Tower of Heaven. It's called Tower of God, or at least the anime adaptation is. It only ran for one season so far. Like the jury's, I guess, still out in my mind, but I liked it. I liked season 1. Yeah, Ghost in the Shell is pretty good. How many ticks? I think it's like 500 ticks, this deck. This snap attack makes things a little awkward for us. I disagree, I think. Because now I can just go like snap, steal a zombie, and then keep attacking. Yeah, I think the attack was good. We need to attack, right? Like we need to end this game at some point. I should watch Kiss X Sis. What I will make a sticky note and I'll Google it, and then I will maybe watch it and maybe not. I think we just attack with the snaps. Well, I watched the Cowboy Action live action remake. No. Where are the dragons? Hopefully somewhere. We can also attack with Lurrus, like, if we need to. Why didn't I trade with the zombie so I can recast it off Lurrus? I don't know. Oh, I should have. Yeah, I should have. Yeah. The turn I cast the Snapcaster. Leaving back Snap to block seems good so we can replay it. Yeah, but the problem is, like, if we attack with Snap Zombie, they just take the trade and we deal less damage. And I feel like we're pretty close to killing them. They could have T-Wested for... Oh, they couldn't have transmuted, but they could have, if they had the mana, they could have gotten their second field. Okay, now Lurrus is putting in some work. Don't think I want to crack this Tarn. Let's just see what their top card is. Turn Timber Symbiosis. Guess we can look at ours. Cleansing Wildfire. That's a good draw. So I'll attack with one Snapcaster. Drew 2 Wildfires. Close game. Yeah, one zombie a turn is just not going to cut it. Yeah, it can also Wildfire the Cavern, although we have Aether Gust, so... I'd probably Wildfire the Cavern on Nymph, maybe? Just so like they can't go Dryad plus Valakut, although that also doesn't do anything. Yeah, so we don't know their last card, but we also get to like know if they're sandbagging anything. They're drawing a Valakut. I guess I should have bobbled after Wildfiring. That was a mistake. There's a Sprite Dragon. I think I'm gonna wait a turn on it. Yeah, definitely was bad to bobble then. But I think we're gonna win. I think it's gonna be basically impossible for my opponent to draw out of this with like double gust up, triple gust up. And now they don't have a field anymore too. Is this list before the companion nerf? It's very similar. I've changed some things. Like I'm not really like in on Seal of Fire and explosives anymore. Like I'm less in on Lurrus. Although in some matchups you're pretty in on it, like against the Swift Spear decks usually. But this list is very similar to the one I was playing before the companion nerf. Yeah, definitely like the start of why I'm playing this. Yeah, like I think it's just not that hard to beat one zombie a turn, as we're seeing here. Attack with everybody, they go to 1. They have to block. It's probably good enough for me. Oh, I could have just cast this to win the game, huh? I can gust my own Dorat and then remand it. That probably just loses to some amount of counter spells. I'll just kill him next turn. Oh, I should have cast this though. Like they can't beat this ever. Like Gust and Remand I think just walks into like it gives us a chance to lose the game, where if we don't cast it, we can never lose. So I kind of in for never losing here. Okay, 4-1 league, losing to red-white taxes, beating... What was round 1? Humans, beating humans, Hammer Time, Belcher,